the co-host of the breakdown with the Nick Ness, our guy, our executive producer, Connor Davis with the Davis Division. What up, Connor?
I want to talk about the Atlanta Falcons because
start with that?
Okay. I'm a numbers guy. There's a lot of numbers with this, and I want to give it to y'all and kind of show y'all the situation they're in right now. So if you go back, right, before this season started, they signed Kirk Cousins to a 100 million.
Whoa!
100 million guaranteed for 4 years. I can't remember if it was 140, 160. I think it was 160. But 100 million guaranteed. That's the key that you need to remember. 100 million guaranteed. So remember that. Remember that number. It was 100, and then he had some incentives to it.
14 million guaranteed.
He had an extra 10 million. I'm going to get to that. So
14.
Here is the predicament that they are in. If they cut, so March 12th would technically be the 2025 league year. If they cut Kirk Cousins before that, they would incur a $65 million dead cap hit next season. Full $65 million. That's $27.5 for his salary and $37.5 for his remaining guaranteed throughout the years. But if they do it after June 1st, that dead money would spread over 2025 and 2026. So it would be 2 seasons. They'd have $40 million in 2025 and then $25 million in 2026. But they could also trade Kirk Cousins. If they trade Kirk Cousins, then they will not have to take that 27.5 at all. So they'd only have to pay the $37.5 million, and they'd be okay with that because they don't have to pay a salary if you trade them, right? But you have to pay them the guaranteed money you signed them on. Okay. So remember those numbers. He gets another $10 million in guaranteed next season, so that could be in play too. But not too long ago, Adam Schefter posted this sentence, and I'm going to read it to you. Kirk Cousins' divorce made me think he was divorcing from his wife. I don't know why he chose to use that word, but he said divorce from the Falcons is expected to be finalized before his $10 million roster bonus due March 17th. It's a lot of numbers. I wish I wrote it on the ticker.
You're good.
So, $10 million before March 17th. March 12th is the new year. Signs are pointing they are going to cut him before that March 12th date, which they have a rookie quarterback in Michael Penix, so they're probably okay with doing that if they're going to commit to Michael Penix because you're not paying him you're paying him a rookie contract, right? That being said, $65 million is taken from the Atlanta Falcons next season. Okay? With all those numbers and that huge wad I just gave you, I know MJ's thinking just a little bit right now. With everything I just told you, you're first place in the NFC South. You're competing this year. Next year, you might not do so well. What do the Falcons do to stay competing for the first place spot? And is this the right move for them to release Kirk Cousins, not even after 1 year of signing him?
Bruce, you can go first.
It's a lot. I'm sorry. I apologize. But
no, you're good. Well, I mean, there's a reason why you're starting a quarterback 15 games over. Also, Cousins' season has been absolute trash. He hasn't thrown a touchdown pass, and I think it was like some ridiculous stat of like 6 games or whatever, 7 games. So, regardless, I don't think Kirk Cousins is going to be on this football team next year. You have to stick with Penix, in my opinion, because there was, in my opinion, more talented players on the board in the draft. That's pretty good. There was a lot more talented players on the board in the draft this past year, but they ended up vying for Penix Jr. instead. Maybe this was their plan all along. Not even I don't think they planned on it being the first year, but maybe after 2 years or 2.5 years, they would end up putting Kirk Cousins out to pasture, so to speak. But here's the thing, though. No one's going to take on that contract at all. There's no way in hell they'll be able to trade him. If I'm them, and what you said, Connor, is correct. After June 1st, you said it's a $40 million cap hit this year, or the next year, 2025, and then $20 million in 2026. Is that correct?
25 and 26, but yes, 40
Okay.
million for the first year, 25 in the second. It's 65 regardless,
65,
because
okay.
that's the rest of his remaining guaranteed money.
I'm sorry, that's what I'm doing. Like, I'm waiting till June 1st if I'm gonna decide to cut him completely. I want to space out that money as much as I possibly can, because what do they do in the NFL? They toss money down the road. That way, they don't have to deal with it at the time. While you're taking a cap hit, a significant cap hit, it's not going to be as bad as it would be if you decide to cut him at the new league year, March 13th, right? 13th, 14th,
March 12th
12th.
for this year.
Well,
But even after Schefter said all signs are pointing to them to release him before March 12th, you still think the Falcons will not do that?
no, because like, where's that?
He's saying they shouldn't.
They shouldn't.
No,
do that.
I agree. It shouldn't.
Yeah, no, I don't think it should, because it doesn't make any sense. In what world does that make any kind of sense?
Well, so the world in which it makes sense here, I'll play devil's advocate. The world in which it makes sense is because if the Falcons do that, they get a better picture of what their cap space is. Because otherwise, you can't use whatever savings you do get, albeit very minimal savings. You can't use that savings until you actually cut Kirk Cousins. Okay. So if you wait till June 1st, which I agree financially probably is the smarter move, and also just for the competitive advantage, in case he goes somewhere in the NFC where he could hurt the Falcons, hypothetically, you don't want him on the market earlier, because then a team is able to make, other NFL teams can make better decisions. If he sits on their roster until June 1st, when everybody's gone through the draft and free agency and everything, and then you cut him, well, teams already kind of had to figure out their quarterback situation. So I agree, Bruce, that makes more sense for the Falcons in terms of competitive advantage monetarily. But if you do it when the league year starts, it's kind of the classier thing for Kirk Cousins. Hey, go find your home, man. I appreciate it. It didn't work out. Go find your place. This isn't your place. We're going to roll with Penix.
Yeah,
you go find your place. You know, if they want to be the classy organization, that's the move. And then financially, in terms of if they want to stay competitive, then knowing where you're at financially before, when the league year starts, before free agency hits, before the draft, so you know what you can do there.
They already have.
That makes the most sense. They're not gonna have that much money to play with either way, but it gives them a better picture.
Dude, and like, you know what's funny? You already beat me to the comment that I was gonna make. The only reason why you're making this deal at the beginning of the new league season to end up cutting him is so that way you look better from a player standpoint or player organizational standpoint. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
But no, I like you. That was the next point that I was gonna make, that to say to you. But I agree with that. The only counterpoint that I'll have, like, hopefully you have a good financial person, a part of your front office, to already have a scenario of different things laid out for you. You know what I'm saying? To say, okay, if we keep him or if we get rid of him March 12th and be a nice team or a nice whatever, here's this, and that way he can go learn a new playbook faster, be a part of veteran mini camps, or not OTAs, but OTAs or whatever. Yeah. So that's the only thing that I could totally see them doing it out of the goodness of their heart. But I don't know. I in my opinion, if they've already allowed it to be leaked that they're going to let him go at the start of the new league year, it's going to happen. From an organizational standpoint, from shit, if I was an owner, I'd be like, sorry, dog, you're staying until June 1st.
Yeah, so the Falcons aren't in a good spot. They've got, according to Over the Cap, right now for 2025, they've got only $6 million cap space. The only teams worse than that are Dolphins, Seahawks, Browns, and sorry, Connor, the Saints. So they're not in a good spot already. But I think hypothetically what they would be trying to avoid by doing this is, again, sorry to rip on your organization, Connor, is to avoid a Saints situation where you're so far in the hole that really there's no hope for where you're going. If you go look at, I think they're probably going to try and model the Broncos. If you look at the Broncos, they figured out very quickly, hey, this veteran quarterback thing isn't going to work. We give him a great big deal. It didn't work out. This is not our future. We have a rookie quarterback. We could win with a rookie quarterback on that deal. Let's go ahead and just cut these ties now. Hey, it didn't work. Get rid of that money. Bite the bullet now. And then maybe in a couple of years when Michael Penix is really developed, we could go win something. I think that's what they're trying to do. If anything, they're trying to follow the Denver Broncos model, which I don't even know if that's really a model, but they're at least competitive and in a playoff race still this year after doing that. So it's better than nothing. It's better than where the Saints are.
In that division, the only thing I'll counterpoint to that, actually, I do agree with you a lot on that. That's actually a really, really good point. But there's only two people that I would say are the difference in that: Sean Payton and Raheem Morris. That's the only difference.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's the only differences that I could think of. But what the Broncos have done, I would totally do that, because especially having that division with that could potentially be one of the best divisions in football, with the Chargers, the Chiefs, Broncos, and Raiders. Raiders suck though.
The Raiders have the second most cap space in the NFL, so they might not suck next year.
I do want to make sense of Shefty's comment of why they would cut him before March 12th. And this is my idea. Your rookie quarterback, although you're not paying him a lot of money, a lot of contracts are backloaded. If you were to go ahead and cut the ties right then and there, you can incur that $65 million. 1 year, you're done. You don't have it that second year. Michael Penix, you're going to kind of produce him how you want him. He's going to end up, you're going to have to pay him more money towards the end of his contract, although it's not much. It's a rookie contract. I just looked at their cap situation. A lot of their veteran players are backloaded contracts. If they want to keep them,
but what are you going to do?
They're not going to be able to pay all these people at once.
You're not going to. But here's the other thing, is the fact that you have only $6 million worth of cap space potentially going into next year. You're not going to be able to keep throwing it down the freaking road. If you keep throwing it down the road, you're not going to be able to do jack shit with any other signings. You're not going to be able to help your team.
That's how you become the New Orleans Saints, ladies and gentlemen.
Right, and you can't do that. The reason why people take out credit to do pay for their vehicles too is because they're not able to front that money right away. If you front that money right away, you're going to even be in a worse situation as it is. I'd rather have a $35 million cap hit, dead cap space, I should say, than $65 million or whatever the count is.
Bruce, don't tell the LA Dodgers this. Your math does not make sense to the LA Dodgers.
I know. I didn't math well with the Dodgers on that one. I agree.
Well, I get what you're saying, Bruce. They're not backloading anything, so they're not having to take care of it later.
You just said all the contracts they had for veterans.
It's going to be upfront. Yeah, I get that. But that's what I'm saying about Kirk Cousins.
What I'm saying about
spread it out.
Hold on,
how much money do you have in 26?
Kirk Cousins, though, because right now Kirk Cousins, if you cut him at that league year mark, you're gonna have to front that $65 million cap hit. So you're fucked. So you have $65 million just sitting there. I'd much rather be sorry, dog. June 1st is when I'm going to cut you, so that way at least I have a little bit of space right there, so I can help my rookie quarterback. Maybe get him an offensive lineman. Maybe get him some secondary wide receiver. Give him something. You know what I'm saying? Instead of just taking that
Darnell Mooney.